Welcome to i-TUTOR Economics NCERT series. In our last class, we studied the first chapter and covered capitalism in detail. Today, let's continue with the same chapter and move on to socialism. Okay, let's start. Socialist economy. The father of socialism is Karl Marx, and he believed that capitalism created inequality. The rich got richer while the poor remained poor. So socialism was introduced as an alternative system to ensure equality and social welfare. So what is the definition of socialism? Socialism is a system in which major industries, land and resources are owned and controlled by the government, not by private individuals. And it is also called planned economy or command economy because the government plans and directs all the economic activities. So what are the key points of a socialist economy? In socialism, public welfare, not profit, public welfare is the main goal, and the government decides what to produce, how to produce and for whom to produce. This means the state takes full responsibility for production, employment and distribution. Examples are Russia, China, Vietnam, Poland and Cuba. They followed socialism. Though pure socialism no longer exists anywhere in the world today, these countries follow them. Most countries have now moved to a mixed economic system combining both socialism and capitalism. So what are the main aim of socialism? The main aim is to ensure equality in income and wealth and equal opportunity for everyone to lead a decent life. So unlike capitalism, which focuses on profit, socialism focuses on people's welfare and equality. Okay. So in a socialist economy, all productive resources like land, factories or capital, they are owned by the government. So this is called nationalization, and it means that government manages and control all economic activities rather than private individuals. So no one can privately own large industries or banks. Everything belongs to the public authority. So now we are learning about the features of socialism, and the first feature is public ownership of means of production. That means all the resources are owned by the government. Now central planning is also a feature. Planning is at the core of socialism. Every decision, that means what to produce, how to produce and for whom to produce, is made by a central planning authority. Unlike capitalism, there is no reliance on market forces. Government plans and regulates everything. Now, maximum social benefit. The main goal is social welfare and not profit. Investments are made to benefit society as a whole and not to make a few people rich. For example, resources may be allocated to healthcare, education and housing to ensure everyone benefited from it. And another feature is non-existence of competition. In socialism, there is no competition in the market. Since the state controls production and distribution, all businesses are government run and consumers have limited choices. So this avoids wasteful duplication but may reduce efficiency compared to capitalism. Now, absence of private mechanism. Unlike capitalism, prices are not determined by demand and supply. The central planning authority sets the price of goods and services. This ensures fairness but may sometimes lead to shortages or inefficiencies. Now, equality of income. Socialism aims to remove or reduce economic inequalities. Private property and inheritance do not exist. Everyone receives a fair share of income based on need rather than ownership. And the next feature is equality of opportunity. Socialism ensures equal opportunity for all citizens. Free healthcare, free education, free professional training and so on. So this gives everyone a chance to improve their life and contribute to society. And the final feature is classless society. Not class struggle, this is classless society. The ultimate goal of socialism is classless society. That means there are no rich or poor classes based on ownership of resources. Since wealth is distributed equally, class conflicts are minimized. So in a true socialist society, everyone is economically equal even if they perform different types of works. So remember, socialism focuses on equality, planning and welfare. Now, what are the merits of socialism? So, reduction in inequalities. In socialism, private property and wealth concentration are not allowed. No individuals can exploit others for profit. Everyone gets a fair share of resources and income here. As a result, economic inequalities are minimized, unlike capitalism where the rich keeps getting richer. And next, rational allocation of resources. That means all resources are allocated by the central planning authority. Investments are pre-planned and resources are used efficiently. Then wastage of resources are minimized, unlike in capitalism where duplication and overproduction occurs. And this ensures that resources are used where they are most needed. And what is the next merit? Absence of class conflict. Since income and wealth are distributed fairly, there are no conflicts between rich and poor classes. Society functions more harmoniously with cooperation rather than competition or exploitation. What about end of trade cycle? In a socialist economy, the government controls production and distribution, as I told you earlier, and this avoids economic booms and recessions. That means trade cycles. The economy becomes more stable and less prone to sudden crises. So there is no need to worry about unemployment or sudden price rises due to market fluctuation. And last one, it promotes social welfare. Because of reduced exploitation, planned investment and stable economy, socialism promotes the welfare of all citizens. Everyone has access to basic needs like food, health and education. Society is more equitable and secure. Okay, so what are the merits of socialism? Reduction in inequalities, rational allocation of resources, absence of class conflict, end of trade cycle and promote social welfare. Now let's look at the demerits of socialism. Red tapeism and bureaucracy is a major demerit. In socialism, all decisions are made by the government agencies. Every action requires approval from multiple officials. Files and proposals move slowly from one desk to another, and this led to red tapeism, causing delays in production, distribution and services delivery. Then absence of incentives. In a socialist system, profit is not the motive and private ownership is absent. People do not get extra reward for working harder or innovating. And as a result, efficiency and productivity often suffer compared to capitalism where profit motivates efforts. Then limited freedom of choice. Consumers in socialism have limited options. Since production is planned by the state, people cannot freely choose what to buy or consume, and this can lead to dissatisfaction and fewer varieties of goods and services. Then concentration of power. The government becomes very powerful in socialism. All major economic decisions are made by the state. Private individuals cannot take initiative, which may lead to misuse or abuse of power. Okay. Now that we understand the limits of socialism, now let's see how mixed economy tries to combine the best of capitalism and socialism. So let's look at mixed economy. What is meant by mixed economy? A mixed economy is a system where both private and public sector coexist and work together. And its aim is to eliminate the evils of both capitalism like inequality and socialism like inefficiency. Countries like India, England, France and Brazil, they follow a mixed economy. Now let's look at the features of mixed economy. Ownership of property and means of production. So in a mixed economy, resources and means of production are owned by both private individuals and the government. Both public and private sectors have the right to purchase, use or transfer their resources, and this ensures a balance between efficiency and social welfare. So now we know first feature of mixed economy, that is ownership of property and means of production, and the second one is coexistence of public and private sectors. In a mixed economy, both private and public sector operate together. Private industries focus primarily on profit, producing goods and services to meet market demands. Public sector enterprises owned by the government aim to maximize social welfare by providing essential goods and services. And this ensures a balance between efficiency and equity. Okay. Now, economic planning is another feature. Even in a mixed economy, the government prepares economic plans. A central planning authority drafts national plans. Both private and public sectors follows these plans, aligning with objectives, priorities and targets are set by the government. And this combines market efficiency with planned social development. Now, solution to economic problems. A mixed economy solves the basic economic questions through, that is, what to produce, how to produce, for whom to produce and how to distribute. So some of these problems are solved by the price mechanism, that means market forces, that is demand and supply, and others are addressed through government intervention and planning, and this ensures both efficiency and social welfare. Now, freedom and control. A mixed economy strikes a balance between freedom and control. Private individuals have the freedom to own resources, produce goods and distribute them. At the same time, the government exercises overall control to ensure that economic activities do not harm society and serve national interest. So what are the features of mixed economy? Ownership of property and means of production, coexistence of public and private sectors, economic planning, solution to economic problems, and freedom and control. Okay, now let's look at the merits of mixed economy. Rapid economic growth is one merit. A mixed economy promotes fast economic growth because it combines private sector efficiency and profit motive to boost production, government initiative to meet public needs like infrastructure, healthcare and education. And this ensures that both private and social needs are addressed, leading to overall growth or overall economic growth. Then, balanced economic growth. Mixed economies encourage balanced development across different sectors. Agriculture and industry grow together. Production of consumer goods and capital goods are balanced. Then development of rural and urban areas occurs simultaneously, and this avoids overemphasis on one sector at the expense of other. Now, proper utilization of resources. The government ensures that resources are used efficiently. Key sectors are directly controlled by the government, and private sector contributes indirectly or indirectly by investing and producing efficiently. And this combination reduces wastage and promotes optimal resource allocation. Then economic equality. So mixed economies reduce economic disparities because progressive taxation ensures that the rich contribute more to society. Wealth is redistributed to provide basic needs to weaker sections, reducing inequality. And the last merit is special advantages to the society, that is, the government actively protects workers and weaker sections. Minimum wages and labor laws are there, rationing and fair price shops, social welfare programs, etc. It ensures that everyone benefits, not just the wealthy or private owners. Now, what are the demerits of mixed economy? First one, lack of coordination. That is, in a mixed economy, the public and private sectors often work with different goals. Government aims at social welfare, private sector aims at profit maximization. And this divergence can create coordination problems. So it will slow down overall economic efficiency. Then, competitive attitude. That is, ideally, both sectors should complement each other for societal welfare. But in reality, they compete instead of collaborating. This can lead to duplication of efforts, wastage of resources, and conflicts between these sectors. What about inefficiency? Many public sector enterprises in a mixed economy are less efficient. Why? Because of bureaucratic delays and red tapeism, then lack of motivation of workers, limited incentives for performance and so on. As a result, productivity and quality often suffers. Now, fear of nationalization. Private entrepreneurs may fear that the government could take over their business, and this discourages investment and innovation. Entrepreneurs may become cautious and avoid risk, slowing economic progress. Then, widening inequality, and this is the last demerit that we want to study. So, private ownership, despite government intervention, private ownership, inheritance laws and profit motive can still create wealth concentration. Mixed economies often inherit inequalities from capitalism while also facing inefficiency issues of socialism. So, rich may get richer while inefficiencies persist in public sectors. So, in this box, we can see the features of capitalism, socialism and mixed economy. Now, concepts of macroeconomics. So, some concepts used in macroeconomics are presented here. Stock and flow. So, what is meant by stock? A stock is the quantity of something measured at a particular point of time or at a point of time. That is the key word here. Stock refers to quantity of commodity measured at a point of time. Examples in macroeconomics are money supply in the economy at a given date. Then level of unemployment at a certain point. Foreign exchange reserves held by the government. Capital stock of a country and so on. Okay, so an economic model is simplified representation of real world economic situations. Economists use models to describe economic activities, understand relations between variables, predict outcomes of policies or changes in the economy, and so on. So models often use mathematics, graphs and equations to explain these relationships. So commonly used models are supply demand models, circular flow models and Smith models. So in macroeconomics, variables are classified into stock and flow. So we already told about stock. Stock is measured at a particular point of time and it represents a quantity that exists at that point. And what about flow variables? They are measured over a period of time. And not at a single point. So it represents activity or change over time. For example, income earned during a month or a year. Then investment made in a year. Government expenditure over a financial year. Or exports and imports during a month. So that is called flow variables. And we already told about what economic models are. Okay. Now, circular flow of income. So, the circular flow of income is a model that shows how money and goods move in an economy. There are three main models depending on the complexity of the economy. What are they? Two-sector model, three-sector model and four-sector model. Two-sector model is the simplest model. It is the simplest model with households and firms. That means households supply factors of production to firms and firms produce goods and services and pay households wage, rent, interest and profit. And money flows from firms to households and households to firms. It is called two-sector model. And three-sector model, government also will be included. And in a four-sector model, it is an open economy and external sectors are also included. So let's look at it. Circular flow of income. It's very important. Circular flow of income. So, think of an economy as a big circle of money and goods. Money flows from one side to another and goods and services flow in the opposite direction. In a two-sector model, there are only two players. Who are they? Households and firms. Households means people like you and me. Firms means businesses that produce things. So, households owns resources like land, labor, capital and entrepreneurship, and they sell these resources to firms and get money in return, and this is called income, that is wage, rent, interest and profit. And households spend this income to buy goods and services from firms like food, clothes and mobile phones. For example, you work in a company, so you are providing your labor to that company and get paid salary. So the company is providing salary to you and it is your income, and you buy groceries using that income. So this is a two-sector circular flow of income. Okay, another example, a bakery hires people, so it's a labor, they uses oven, that is a capital, and sells bread to you. Okay, so the real flow means households give resources to firms, so that is the real flow, and firms gives goods and services to the households, and that are the real flows. And what about money flows? When firms pay income to household, it is the money flow, and household spends money, it is also money flow. Okay. So the money households earn is equal to money households spend, or income is equal to consumption plus investment. Income means all the money households earn, and consumption means what households spend on goods. And what about investment? That is what households or firms save and use to produce more goods. Okay. So in a two-sector economy, production and sales are equal, and there will be a circular flow of income and goods. The outer circle represents real flow. So the outer circle, this one, they are representing real flow, that is factors and goods, and the inner circle represents a monetary flow. So this one is representing monetary flow. Okay, so real flow indicates that factors services flow from household sector to business sectors, and goods and services flow from business sectors to the household. The basic identity of a two-sector economy are as follows. But is why income is equal to consumption plus investment. That means if we get income, we use it to consume goods and also for investment. Okay. Now, imagine the same two-sector economy we discussed before, but with one more player, that is the government. So the three sectors are households, firms, and also government. What does the government does? The government plays two main roles. What are they? They take money, that means outflow from households and firms through taxes. That means government collects taxes from households, that is income tax, and firms, that is corporate tax, and this is money flowing from households and firms to the government. So households to government, it is taxes, and from firms to government, these are also taxes. So this is the money flowing from households and firms to the government, and government buys goods and services from firms, for example construction, healthcare, education, and so on. And also there are some social transfers, that means government gives money to households in the form of pension, relief, subsidy, scholarship, and so on. For example, if you pay income tax, government collects money. Government gives subsidies on LPG or provide a pension, money flow back to the household. Government hires construction companies, firms get paid. So how the flow work in three-sector economy? Households provide factors of production, that means land, labor, and capital to the firms, and they receive income. So households provide factors of production to the firms and they will receive income. Income means wages, dividends, interest, profits, and rent. Okay. And they pay taxes to the government. Households pay taxes to the government, and they receive social transfers from the government, and they spend income on goods and services produced by the firms. And what about firms and government? Firms hire factors of production from the households through by paying wage, rent, profits, and so on. And they sell goods and services to household and receive money. And they also pay taxes to the government, that is corporate taxes. Let's look at the government. They collect taxes from both households and firms. They pay households through pension, subsidies, and so on, and firms for goods and services. And they use this money to provide public goods like schools, hospitals, roads, and defenses. So the key idea is the government adds a layer of control and supports to the economy. And taxes are like taking some money out of the flow. Government spending is like putting money back in, which keeps the economy moving. And this stabilizes the economy and provides social welfare. So think of it like this. In the two-sector model, households and firms are passing money and goods back and forth like a ball. In a three-sector model, the government joins the game, sometimes catching the ball, that means taxes, and sometimes throwing it back like through spending or subsidies, making sure the game continues smoothly. Now let's look at the four-sector model. So now we are adding one more player, that is external sector of foreign country. So the four sectors are households, firms, government, and also external sector. So what does this external sector does? So the external sector involves trade with other countries. It includes exports and imports. Exports means selling goods and services to other countries. So money will comes into our economy. And import means buying goods and services from other countries. Money goes out of our economy. For example, when we export rice to another country, India gets money. And if we import oil, India pays money to other countries. So this sector makes the economy open to the world. So national income in four-sector economy includes, or in a three-sector economy, we calculated national income as Y is equal to C plus I plus G. That means consumption expenditure plus income expenditure plus government expenditure. Where C is consumption expenditure. That means households buying goods or services. I means investment expenditure. That means firms buying capital goods to produce more. G is the government expenditure. That means spending on goods and services. So in a four-sector economy, we also include net exports. That means X minus M. X minus M means export minus import. So export minus import, that we are calling net export. So in the four sector economy, we also include net exports. So y is equal to c plus I plus g plus x minus m, or c plus I plus g plus net exports. So the net export shows whether money is flowing into the economy from abroad or going out. So how the flow works in the four sector model? The households provide factors of production. So the households provide factors of production to earn income. They pay taxes to the government, spend money on goods and services, both domestic or imported. And what about firms? They hire resources from the households by paying wages, rent, profit and so on. Then sell goods or services to households, government and foreign buyers, and buy resources and goods from households, government and foreign suppliers. And what about government? They collect taxes. That means spends on social welfare, infrastructure and so on. Then purchases goods and services from the domestic firms. And finally, external sector. We export goods and services and money comes in. If we import goods and services, money goes out. So the key idea is the four sector model is more realistic, because in real life, no economy is fully closed. Foreign trade affects national income. If we export more, the economy earns more. If we import more than export, it may reduce national income. So the formula is Y is equal to consumption expenditure. Y means income or GDP. Y is equal to consumption expenditure plus consumption expenditure plus investment expenditure plus government expenditure plus net exports. So this formula captures all the money flows in an open economy. Okay, so let's look at the summary of this chapter. Macroeconomics is the study of the economy as a whole. So instead of looking at individual businesses or people, it looks at big picture aspects like how the entire country produces goods and services, like through national income and output, how people earn and spend money. Then economic problems like inflation, poverty, inequality and economic growth. International aspects like trade, exchange rate, balance of payment, etc. So in short, macroeconomics tells us how the whole economy behaves and performs. And what are the tools to understand the economy? Economists use economic models to make sense of complex economic activities. Stock and flow variables are there. Stock means they are measured at a point of time. Flow, they are measured over a period of time. And we also studied about circular flow models. These models show how money, goods and services move between households, firms, governments and external sector. And what are the types of circular flow models? 2-sector models, 3-sector models and 4-sector models. Then we learned about economic systems. Economies are classified based on how resources are owned and managed. That is capitalist economy, socialist economy and mixed economy. So today no economy is 100% capitalist or socialist. Most are mixed economies. So what are the key takeaways from this chapter? Macroeconomics helps understand national and global economic performances. Circular flow models help visualize how money and goods circulate in an economy. And different economic systems show different approaches to growth, equality and efficiency. Okay, so that's all about this chapter. Hope you understand. Thanks for watching. For more related contents, do like, share and subscribe.